Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your friend, your host, your coach. Today, we're kicking off day two of the 5-day podcast launch challenge for the January 2025 UK Europe class. And yeah, let's get going. I'm excited. Let's me first start by sharing my screen and let's rock and roll. Do you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, no, this is not the right screen. Wait. Uh, wait. This is not the screen. Do you see it now when it says day two?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, welcome for day two. Today, we're going to be diving into a very powerful principle that we need to understand to really comprehend, and that is how podcasting is so powerful. First for businesses, and then for you as a person, and also for your business, so that we can get the full understanding before we dive into your own podcast by tomorrow. So, let's dive in. First of all, the agenda. There's no introduction needed because we all know each other. There's no new people. Any questions? Wait, let me mention that. Any question about anything I covered yesterday before we dive into day two?
No.
I guess the word question may have scared your cat.
He doesn't like to be consulted on most things. He looks intelligent, but he has the brain of a pea.
It is there. Okay, no worries. Okay, let's get going then. So, why do you think, let's do some, keep it interactive and not just me talking. Why do you think that podcasting is so powerful for businesses? Who wants to go at it?
It allows you to reach out and find out what people are thinking. Instead of running surveys and having blanket information, you are talking to the people. They're finding out who you are. Your brand has become 3D, not one dimensional.
That is very true. That is very true. Anyone else wants to add to that?
Makes you visible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Regardless of how big or how many people may follow your podcast, it's not about the numbers. Anyone else?
Well, for me, Payman, it allows you to bring your personality to a topic. So whilst they may be listening to what it is that you've got to say, they will automatically be experiencing you, the person.
Absolutely. Great answer. So now let's take a look at it. Podcasting is incredibly powerful because it allows you, first and foremost, to share your story, to allow your audience to get to know you, your story, your background, for you to shine your personality. And the process of you sharing your story is going to allow you to display your expertise, because the best business to build is the one I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to be mentioning over and over and over again, and that is you sharing how you overcome whatever challenges you overcome. And that's why I always keep on saying your crap is your gold, your mess is your message. And that's what people are looking for. Again, so share your story, display expertise. And also, the people that are going to be listening to you, they're not going to be some randoms. They're going to be the people that really not only need that information, but also people that really relate with you, identify with you, resonate with you, see themselves in you. Otherwise, nobody's going to waste their time listening to some person with something they have no interest. I wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it either. Neither. So, and also, last but definitely not least, it's going to allow you to have an unmatched, intimate connection with audience. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that when you listen to the radio or the TV, there's always, background noise, there's always other things going in the background, so you have your attention on multiple places. But when someone listens to your podcast, especially to your podcast, it's you and the earbud. Or if you're listening to a podcast while driving, it's just you in your car and them and no one else. So this is why it gets you an incredibly intimate connection with the audience. And if you put all of that together, it's going to do something magical and dispensable for you and your business, and that is going to allow you to build trust, rapport, rapport, and a long-lasting connection, not just with randoms, but to the exact ideal audience, exact ideal prospect, listeners, and ultimately exact ideal clients. This is what it's going to do. Does that make sense, guys?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that many times already. What is business at the core? Sure, business is not a numbers game. Sure, numbers matter, but ultimately it's a relationship nurturing process, especially if you're selling anything high ticket. Anything over $1,000, pounds, or euros, about one thing and one thing only. Start with a T, ends with a T, 5 letters, trust. Now, how do you build that trust? By building rapport. How do you build a rapport? By simply having heart-to-heart conversations, just like I've had with you, Christine, with you, James, on my podcast, with before, with Gifty, and so many other people. I will mention that later on. 100% of my clients of the last 3 years have all come from my podcast. 100%.
Mm.
I don't do any other outreach. No SEO, no social media. Sure, I'm a very social guy. I love meeting people, getting to know their story. I'm a collector. I collect stories. I love hearing people's stories. And for me, podcast has been a godsend gift. So this is why. This is what business is all about. Having conversations with the exact people that identify with you, that relate with you, that resonate with your message. And why is podcasting the best way to connect with your exact ideal audience, prospect, and clients? Again, as I mentioned earlier, when someone listens to your podcast, it's for three main reasons. One, sure, they're interested in your topic. Second of all, sure, they identify with you, relate with you, and all that good stuff. But most importantly, after a few days, after a few times of them listening to your podcast, they will start to like you, see you as a friend. How many of you guys listen closely to podcasts? So, your favorite podcast, how do you feel towards the host? Do you see them as some stranger, or do you see them as a friend, even though you may have never met them? See what I mean? This is what podcasting does. And when you listen to someone, or when someone listens to your podcast, after a few weeks, or even a few days, or whatever, they may reach out to you. Say, hey, I've been listening to your podcast for such amount of time. I love what you're doing. I'd love to get on a call with you to see how you can help me. There's no need to pitch, to sell, to convince, or I like to say in a funny, cheesy way, to seduce or kidnap someone to do business with them. Hey, Christine, what do you do? Oh, I do X for Y. Hey, James, what's your business? Tell me more about your business. Oh, I do X for Y. Oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. See, it's a very natural progression because, again, it's all based on one thing and one thing only: trust. You use your podcast not to sell, not to pitch, not to convince, but to simply have heart-to-heart conversations to get to know the person so that you can build trust and rapport, sharing your story, displaying your expertise in the process. Once you build the trust, guaranteed they will ask you, so what about you, George? What do you do? And we tell them what you do. Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's what I've been looking for. Can you help me? Sure, let's set up a time to talk. And when you talk with them, there's no need for you to send proposals to try to convince them because, again, 90% of sales, maybe more, is trust. Once you trust the person, there's no need for you to be convinced or sold. So that's what it's all about. Let me see. Someone has a message here. Okay, is someone trying to get in? Let me see. Oh, yes, I will give the contacts, Christine. 1 second. Okay. All right. What do you guys think is the most valuable currency in the world of business and today's world?
Trust.
Not money. What is it?
I'm going for trust.
Yes,
Communication.
other than trust.
Communication.
It's part of it.
Value.
Yes, it's part of it. Starts with an A, ends with an N.
Mm.
And
Action. I don't know.
Now, that's a good one. Attention.
Uh,
Attention. Before you're able to build trust, have conversation, you need to catch their attention before you even have a chance to build that trust and all that. So attention is the most valuable currency in the world. So as I mentioned earlier, when someone listens to radio or TV, there's usually a lot of distraction in the background. But when someone listens to your podcast, it's just you and the earbud, no other distraction. And as a result, you get the full, undivided, intimate, attention in ways that no other medium, even if you were to spend a large sum of money on any advertising, would not even come close to it. So, who is podcasting for? As the old saying goes, facts tell, stories sell. Since the dawn of time, human beings have interacted. First, it was around the bonfire, then around in meeting rooms and boardrooms, and now it's through Zoom calls and all that by just having conversation from people around the world. First, it was just people from your tribe, then people from your company, your city, your country, whatever. Now it's from around the world, like we are here. Because again, stories are what's the best way to sell. So any business, doesn't matter whether it's online, offline, whatever, each client, each customer, each person, each deal, each trade, each speech, whatever you're doing, launch, book, course, whatever you're doing, any milestone, these are stories and stories worth sharing and telling. People want that. Hey, I just got a weird customer, or I just had an amazing customer experience, whatever. These are stories. Maybe you won't tell that to people, but when you go home to your family, to your spouse, or to your friends, you're going to share them. Same thing here. So it doesn't matter whether you're just starting your business or you're already an established business, podcasting is going to help you. Doesn't matter whether you're an author, coach, professional, entrepreneur, whatever you are, whatever you may be. Even had someone earlier today in the US call, they're doing e-commerce, and they were asking, how can they implement that for e-commerce? I just let them, hey, listen, just identify the real movers and shakers, the real influencers, not the fake wannabe self-acclaimed ones, and simply have a conversation with them on a podcast, invite them on a podcast to build that trust, and then get them to help you promote the product. As simple as that. So this is podcasting is going to mostly benefit everyone, but specifically anyone that has a valuable transformational skill, even more so if you already have an offer, or if you can have an offer that you can sell for at least $1,000, pounds, or euros. Because again, it's all about trust. For example, let's say you're selling this mug on Amazon or whatever for 10 pounds, $10, whatever. Oops, I just spilled water on myself. If you like it, you buy it. You don't need me to. You don't need to get to know me or talk to me. Just buy it. But when you're buying anything over $1,000, then you definitely want to know the person, get to talk to them, ask questions, and the best way to do so is here. So podcasting is going to benefit your business no matter what type of business you're in, what industry, what stage, as long as you are. It can help you if you're selling, say, products like this on Amazon or whatever, but it would be more beneficial if you're selling anything high ticket. So now let me get into the actual meat and potato of today as to why podcasting is so powerful. First, the benefits for you as a human being, as a man, as a woman. I would dare to argue that these benefits are much more powerful and valuable than any monetary or financial benefits, because these have completely changed my life, and you will understand why. So again, a podcast is incredible because it's going to allow you to share your story and document your journey. In the process, making incredible friendships around the world, like all of us here, and people I've been blessed to make friendships from around the world. Here's a big one. This is one of the biggest, most important, powerful benefits of a podcasting. It gets you access to people you normally wouldn't. Let's say you just saw someone on TV or just on LinkedIn or wherever, or radio, you want to reach out to them. If you were to send them a message, hey, James, I love what I just saw about you. I would like to connect. If you were to get a cold message from someone like that, how would you react?
I would be probably too busy and preoccupied to make anything about it.
That's it. Now, how about if I were to revisit another way? Say, hey, James, I just saw you on TV. Love what you're doing. I just got your book. I'm the host of the podcast Lead with a Heart, and I would be honored to showcase you in my podcast. What would be your response
I would try to marry you.
See what I mean? Well, minus the marry you, you know.
It would stand out noticeably to me, and I would instantly have more of a connection because there's already a personal connection there.
That's it. So that's what I'm saying. It gives you access to people you normally wouldn't be able to. I've been podcasting since October of 2020, I've been over 4 years, fast approaching 400 episodes. I can count on one hand the number of people that I reached out to that said no to be on my podcast. I only had two people. One lady, she was just about to give birth, and we had to reschedule it just because, she's giving birth. And the second was a gentleman from the US about to be transferred for his work to Germany. So we had to reschedule it. But I didn't get anyone to tell me an outright no, not interested, or someone not even responding to me. So that's what I mean. Doesn't matter how big your podcast is. Everybody wants to be on a podcast. Everybody wants to talk about themselves. It's a platform. And 4 years, I had only two people ask me, so how many downloads do you get? How many people listen to your podcast? And when I tell them that for me, it's not about the numbers, but about the connection, then they understand. So again, it doesn't matter how small, or how many subscribers, listeners, or downloads you get. And when you do go and invite your ideal prospects, which are ultimately your ideal clients, don't self-limit or restrict yourself. Just go to the top, or at least go to one or two levels just below them, and you will just the same approach. Hey, Christine, I just read about you on an article on LinkedIn. I love what you're doing, and I would love to showcase you on an upcoming episode of my podcast. See, you just use this approach, you will get a 99.99%, not just yes, but oh, hell yes response. Did you just do a backflip, James?
No, I'm just dealing with a cat.
Oh, wow. Okay. Here's another big one. Having your podcast can allow you to learn about yourself. I can't tell you guys how many times after re-listening to my episode before releasing them, I caught myself saying, wait, did I really say that? Where is that coming from? Sometimes when I talk, it's almost that I get in a zone and information gets channeled through me. Some things that I would not normally say in normal interactions, but on a podcast, it's almost I'm being used as a container, as a channel, information being channeled to me. That's magical. Here's another big one. Overcome your shyness and fear of public speaking. So if any of you guys here suffers from being shy or fear of public speaking, having your own podcast is the best way. You're talking right now to the former world record holder of the shyest guy on this planet. I was so shy that people that know me from before, they always tell me, what happened to you? Did you make a pact with the devil? You're always talking with confidence, with charisma. You have no problem getting in front of a stage with people. I said, no, never did, never will. I just found my purpose, my voice, my passion. It wasn't easy. It's been a process. If you go on my YouTube channel, look at my very first few episodes. They're not really good. The camera's right up my big nose. It's dark. I was wearing a cap. I had a beard that made me look like 50 years older. But I leave those on purpose so people can see the journey, the progress. Even the biggest company in the world, Apple, started in a basement. The first iPhone is a piece of crap compared to what we have here. So again, people want to see progress because the more they can see the progress, the more they can relate with you. And that's what I always say. Don't try to go with a right away looking like all professional, like Hollywood, perfect lighting, perfect air, perfect smile, perfect everything, because you will lose people. They will not connect with you. This is why I keep telling you, James, let your cats and your dogs come on the screen. That's going to make you more endearing, more relatable, more humane. See, that's what I mean. And if you have any younger children, hey, let them sit on your lap. Because that's what allows you to connect with people. They want to see authenticity. They want to be able to relate with you. Does that make sense, guys? Cool. Next, it's going to allow you to drastically improve your communication and listening skills. I used to suffer. One of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to listening to podcasts is when you have someone interesting, someone sharing a fascinating story, and the host always interrupt them. You never want to see that. It's really takes away the pleasure. I used to be that guy, always trying to butt in, always trying to give my 2 cents. No, now when you get on podcast with me, even in person now, I let you finish. I had so many people, countless people compliment you on that, telling me, oh, wow, you're the first person I talked to on a podcast or anywhere that actually lets me finish what I'm saying. And again, this is not something overnight. I had to learn it over 4 years, but this is an incredible skill. Allowing someone to really listen, say what they have to say, and when they're finished, then you say your piece. And not just being silent, just waiting your turn, but also actively listening. And when you reply back to them when it's your turn, saying something meaningful that adds to what they were just talking about. And when you do that with someone, that's gonna speed up your connection with them and trust faster than anything. With, hey, this guy actually or this person actually cares about me. They will feel seen and heard. That's what I'm talking about. And after being on a podcast, having my own podcast for the last 4 years, with almost 400 people, hearing all kinds of incredible, inspiring, empowering, goosebump-inducing stories, it's going to make you a much more interesting person to talk to because you have so many more experiences, wisdom stories to draw from. As a result of that, you will be able to connect at a much deeper level with anyone you talk to, not just business or podcast, even your personal life. You'll be able to really have deeper, more meaningful connections, interactions, conversation because, hey, you're a better listener. You have better communication skills. You're not shy, let them talk, and you have interesting feedback to give them. You will be able to really connect at a much deeper level. And if you had all of that, you become an all-powerful and charismatic speaker and leader. That's the ultimate goal. So again, all of these are the benefits for you as a person, as a man, as a woman, as a human being, that podcasting that for me are far more invaluable than any financial gains. Last but definitely not least, podcasting is very fun. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't be doing it. You wouldn't be doing it. And one more thing, if you put all of that together, it's going to allow you to find your voice, your passion, your purpose, your ikigai, as the Japanese say. Because again, you have a reason. You know why you're here for. So again, these are some of the ways that I've personally experienced. People in my circle, my students, my clients, my guests, they've all have experienced the same thing. Do you guys see how this can really make you a much more all-around better person overall and human being beyond the business person? You know, they say, let's say you have a goal to reach $1 million of pounds. It's beautiful when you reach that financial goal, but the greatest gift is a person you become in the process. That's something nobody can take away from you. That's the real reward. Because once you have that, then £1 million, okay, let's go for 10 now. And you have the foundation. Same thing here. Now, let's take a look at the benefits for your business. Oh, by the way, any questions so far about what I just covered? Any question, comment?
Nope, with you on that.
Okay. Anything your cat may want to add to it?
No, they've given up the ghost now and gone to sleep.
Okay. So now, some benefits of podcasting for your business. The first and obvious one is going to allow you to attract and connect to exact ideal clients. It's going to allow you, by you sharing your story, to get your audience to get to know you on a personal level as a human being, as a man, as a woman. And the process allowing you to build a very intimate connection with your audience. And as I mentioned earlier, your very best clients will be your podcast listeners. As I mentioned earlier, 100% of my clients come from my podcast. How about that? Can you name me any other medium or any other advertising or platform that can even come close to that? 100%. Does anyone have experience anything similar? What has been so far the platform that has given you the highest return? And the second part, what percentage of your clients have come from that platform? I'd like to hear at least one person.
Yeah, only this morning I've had analytics from LinkedIn saying that one of my posts got 400 impressions.
Wow.
But not one of those persons has reached out.
Okay.
I've never had a client, in spite of a year of doing a deliberate outreach program on LinkedIn via 2 different organizations, not one. Not one
Wow.
client. Every client I've ever had has either been I've met them or it's been through introduction.
Or referral.
And
yes,
what
or
is-
Referral, yeah.
What does that
Yeah.
tell you? It's all about trust.
It's about getting to know you
Yes.
rather than just the words that you write.
Yes.
If we can all write words, can't we, and react to somebody else's
Yes.
words, but actually getting to know people. They don't know me.
Yeah, if I do a small YouTube or something like that, someone might reach out and want to know a little bit more. But yeah, the
It's
sunny.
cold. It's cold though, isn't it?
It is
It's
because it's
very
not.
similar to a cold call
Yes, it's
because you can be refused or they just don't take your call. They don't respond.
yeah.
Um,
I think because I'm not on the reaching out for clients
mm,
yet, so they contact me to see whether they want to find out a lot more. But yeah,
mm,
yeah,
mm,
So what I'm saying is that podcasting dwarfs any other platform or medium because nothing gives you that kind of connection, interaction with your audience. And
mm.
I'm going to expand on that point in a moment, which is your best client will be your podcast listeners, because that deserves its own slide. I'm going to do that in a couple of slides after. Also, podcast, when you have your own podcast, it's an amazing, amazing, not only lead generation, but also lead education, because our number one goal as mentors, coaches, activators, whatever you want to call it, is to educate your audience about the problem they have that they may or may not even be aware that they have, because we don't know what we don't know. Your number one job is to make me realize I have a problem and then tell me why I have a problem. What's going to happen if I don't take any action towards it? And that's when they will ask you, oh, so how do I fix this? Well, glad you asked. That's when your services come to help them in that process. So again, your number one job is to educate them, make them understand what is the problem before you can even get the leads. And of course, that's a given. That's very easy. We all understand that. You can leverage your long form podcast episodes for endless other contents, for shorts, highlight reels, quotes, articles, and so on and so forth. Here's a big one of my favorite, the last one on the left. It elevates and positions you as not only the expert, the leader and authority in your field, but most importantly, as their expert, their leader, their authority, because they've been listening to you. Because remember what I said, our number one goal and task is to educate them. What is a problem? Make them understand and realize what is a problem, why the problem exists in the first place, and what's going to happen if they don't do anything. And because you were the one that made them become aware of that problem, guess who they're going to turn to when they need any help? You, because you were the one that made them aware of that. So you become by default not just an expert, but their leader, their authority. And that's incredibly powerful. Do you guys see that, how powerful that is? Good. Podcasting is also fantastic for networking. Podcasting has become the new golf. Before it used to be, let's go play a round of golf, let's hang out at the country club. And especially since the pandemic of COVID, now it's, hey, come on my podcast. Let's have a chat. You can't imagine how many partnerships, how many business ventures at every level have started as a result of just two people having a conversation on a podcast. As a matter of fact, nowadays I only do business with people I met on my podcast. My publisher, I've done 4 books, here are the last 2. My publisher, she was on my podcast as a guest. She was in my academy, and next thing led to another. I did 4 books with her. My copywriter, the guy that's gonna do is doing currently my VSL, video sales letter, my PR person. Everybody nowadays, I only do business with people I met on my podcast. I'm sure most of you guys get flooded each day with people sending you friend requests on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and the first message they try to pitch you. At first, I used to respond, be polite, and say, "Listen, you want to do business with me? Get to know me." But they wouldn't reply. Now I don't even bother with them. So again, it's an incredible, incredible networking opportunity, not only for you to find the people that you want to do business with, but hey, cook it magic. And
Can I tell you about a good one I had only yesterday? A chap contacted me and said he wanted to connect with me. And I said, well, yeah, okay. I looked at his profile and I can't see anything that would instantly attract me to him business wise. But the next thing was, I thought, oh yeah, okay, I'll give him a chance. I'll say, yeah, I'll spend 30 minutes on a Zoom call with you. So I booked that. And then the next thing I knew is I get a message from him saying, I only do my contact by phone. Here is my number, and you ring me at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And I'm thinking, what? That's got to be a first. I've got to ring you because you want to sell me something. That's I'm still quite staggered about that.
Absurd.
Um, isn't that a strange way of doing business?
Yes.
Or am I losing the plot?
No. You're absolutely right. That's not only strange, but it's absurd.
Hmm.
As we
It's
say,
also genius.
sorry,
From the other perspective, it's genius.
it's
Is it?
make them stand
Why?
out. Stand out. Yes.
Well, no, it's ridiculous and ludicrous, but the fact that they've got you to call them to sell you something is genius. I mean, it's an absurd thing to be on the receiving end of, and I've been on the receiving end myself. So it's like, yes, but with
Yeah.
all of these ridiculous things, we can learn from them.
Yeah.
But I'm seriously thinking of waiting till 5 minutes before the call and then telling them don't bother because he's put my back up straight away. He can't sell me anything because he's annoyed me straight away.
Then
I
Doesn't
wouldn't
matter
even
what he
bother.
wants to sell me. I'm not interested.
I would just send him a message, say, sorry, not interested, not, and that's it, and
Yeah.
block him. Yeah.
And yet he's got a massive following.
Doesn't matter.
Allegedly.
Doesn't matter.
Allegedly.
You'd be surprised how many of those are bot, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
Fake bot.
Yeah. Yeah.
As we say in
Yeah.
North America, they're delulu or delusional. You know?
Mm. But
So
I've got to have a conversation with him. I can't see him. I
no.
can't interact with him. What's the point?
It's probably
I-
some Nigerian prince, if you know what I mean. Anyways, the last item on this list is we all know that as podcasting is an incredible, powerful launching pad for much bigger things. For example, for me, it allowed me to build my little podcast turned into a big, prolific, successful podcast. Then blessed me with a powerful business, and then becoming a four-time number one international best-selling author, TED Talk, keynote speaker at a major conference here in March, and so many other things. So again, if you have any aspirations to become a public speaker, do any corporate training, the best thing you can do is this, having your own podcast. If they want to say, oh, can I take a look at your portfolio? They say, oh, here's my YouTube channel, it's my podcast. That's going to seal the deal for you. Because again, when you do a podcast and we talk about a topic of your expertise, whether it's you speaking or you interviewing other experts or other key figures in your niche, by default, that's going to elevate you as an expert because only an expert can keep doing this and an effective way and in a way that really catches people's attention. No fake wannabe can sustain or can keep it that long. Nobody can fake it till they make it for a long time, but only a true expert, someone that really understands their niche inside out, can do it. So again, what I said earlier, it elevates you and positions you as an expert, an authority, and a leader in the field. So these are some of the main benefits. And here's the last one, but also very powerful when we put all of these together. And I've seen that in my business numerous times. When you have a podcast, it drastically reduces the sales cycle of whatever you're selling. What do I mean by that? Let's say you're selling a $5,000-$10,000 a pound package. Someone's business, for example, let's say I've been listening to your podcast, George, for the last 3 months, and I like what you're selling. After a week or two, I know that I want to know more. After 4 weeks, so yes, you're the one that I want to do business with. I will just reach out to you, and something that would take you weeks or months to close the deal, we do it in a day or two. Because again, we have that connection, that trust that I've got you being on a podcast, sharing your story, displaying your expertise, displaying also your personality, your sense of humor. That's going to make me, oh, wow. Yeah, this is a person I want to do business with. So again, it's drastically going to reduce the sales cycle of whatever you're selling. Do you guys see how powerful that is? All of that, but especially the last line. The last line and the one that says elevates you as the expert, the leader and authority in your field. These are incredibly powerful for business, especially for all of you guys, but especially for someone like you with the profile, the background, the experience you have. You, James, this for you is going to it's going to be the fast track ticket to wherever you want to be. Seriously. Because again, it's all about one of the exercises I share inside my academy. And you know what? Screw it. I will share it with you guys as well. I'm going to share it with you guys on Thursday or Friday. It's called the Dream 100 List. Have you guys heard of
Payman,
the dream?
Can I ask, sorry, just cutting
Sure,
across briefly, can I just ask you one? It's a question that's been with me ever since we started,
sure.
which is probably completely ignorant. On a podcast, do you always have to have a guest?
Great question. I will cover that on Wednesday when I
That's
talk
okay. I will relax and stay silent.
about the format of your pod. But no, that's a fantastic question. I would say it's really your call. It's your business. It's your podcast. You can have as many variation as you want. I personally do 99% interviews because I love listening to people hearing the stories. But you can definitely have, if you do one podcast a day, Monday to Fridays, or five a week, you can have, say, one day where you talk, share whatever news, whatever tips you want to provide about your business, about your industry. Another day can be you interviewing an actual expert, and 3 days you interviewing a prospect. So it's really what ratio you use. That's really your call. If you feel that it would help your business, by all means, spend a day. One day can be just you providing value, sharing your experience, providing tips, best practices, news about your industry, whatever that's gonna help you shine brighter than you can shine, and it's gonna further elevate your status in the eyes of your audience as a true expert. So it's really your call. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Very welcome. So any question about that before we move on, before on all of these benefits for your business about of podcasting? Any questions? As my good friend, the pastor would say, speak now, hold your peace forever.
I'm just interested in how you get people to your podcasts in the first place. Or you're going to cover that later?
Yes,
Well,
that's going to be
shut up
later.
then.
But after a while, I will show you guys how to get people to reach out to you and literally get leads on demand. I can have 50 leads in the next 24 hours by just making one key post. And it's a short post, it's nothing big. For example, I will share it with you guys. Go to any, once you've identified your ideal client, identify where they hang out, let's say it's on Facebook. Go to that Facebook group, make a post saying, hey guys, my name is James, Christine, George, Berta, Payman, whatever. I'm the host of the Leaders Without podcast. I'm looking for X to showcase on my podcast, and just sit back, relax, and enjoy. You will be flooded with people wanting to be on your podcast. Flooded. Each time I do it, I get 50 to 100 people to reply because everybody wants to be on a podcast. You're doing them a major favor. Hey, they can use that as I said earlier, content for the social media, as social proof, and further elevate the status. Hey, you see, I'm sure you've seen on some Facebook groups, LinkedIn's, or some websites. There's a section on the website that says as seen or as showcased in such and such show or podcast or whatever. Hey, you can do that. Collect those. Whenever you get on podcast yourself, take a screenshot of the thumbnail, create a section on your website. Hey, as seen or as interviewed, as displayed on this podcast. That further increases your status in a way. Does that answer your question, Christine?
I'm making a note. I've got I could do about 25 podcasts.
For what? Per day, per week, per month?
Because I could just do them on a sliding scale. I've got about 25 European projects that I want to disseminate. I could get the host or the lead partner from each of those projects to be my guest.
Exactly.
And we could talk about what we did for 3 years.
Yeah. Again, when you get someone on a podcast, this is I highly recommend, never sell, never try to pitch or convince them. All you're doing is just use that opportunity to build trust and rapport, to get to know them. Hey, George, what's your story? Tell me. Who's George? Hey, Christine, what's your background? Tell me about your story. Who's James as a man, as a human being, before the businessman? That's the first question. Can't even talk. That's the first question I ask all my guests. If you remember, the first question I start is, "Hey, James, who's James as a man, as a human being, before the businessman or before the businesswoman?" Because again, I want to know you. You use the same thing. You use a podcast to get to know them, for them to get to know you, so you can build trust, rapport, and the process of you sharing your story, you display your expertise. And because you have this trust and rapport, that's a foundation that's going to open up the doors. Hey, so tell me more about what you do. Oh, can you help me? Oh, sure, let's set up a time to talk. It's very simple, yet incredibly effective. Do you guys see how powerful that is? There's no need to pitch, to sell, to convince, no proposal, no chasing, no phone tags. I mean, sending messages back and forth. No, just, hey, let's set up a time. And when you do set up a time with them in that way, they will show up. Or even at the end
I'm
of the call.
thinking I would have to write a book for each one, but actually I now don't need to. I could just do a podcast.
Speaking of that, even though that's off topic, and I will cover that on Thursday
Yeah,
when I'm going to
sorry.
bring my publisher, one of the best ways to publish your first or next book is this. And it's what I mean. A 200-page book is about 60,000 words, roughly speaking. One 30-minute podcast episode is 6,000 words. So every 30 minute that you sit in front of your Zoom speaking, that's 6,000 words. 15 minutes is 3,000 words. You want to write a 100,000 book, you can do that in five or six sittings. And then you just transcribe that. Seriously. Do you see how, does that make your creative juices flow right now? How you can publish a book? So once you have your podcast, let's say after 3 months, you can publish a book pretty much every 3 months. And here's what I mean. The easiest way, and that's not what I would recommend, is to simply transcribe the interviews. That's not what I recommend. That's for the lazy people. A much more effective and powerful way would be, let's say you did 20 episodes with high-powered people in top organizations. For example, Christian, you would say, hey, 10 lessons I learned after speaking with 10 powerful leaders in the world of business and the European Union. That's a powerful book. Or 10 lessons I learned from women facing this, whatever, you know? So there's many ways that you can leverage. Let me show you one thing here. You see this book, my last book, all my books? This is a collection of, you can't see it, but you know, the table of content. There were 12 people, each of them wrote a chapter, and these are people that were invited. This book is by invitation only to the guests on my podcast. Each of them were on my podcast. So I just invited them, hey, come share around a specific theme. Like this one, the theme was, what is your gift? And how are you sharing your gift around you and around the world to make the world a better place? So each of them came and paid $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 to be in the book. So that's another source of income that podcasting blessed me with. So again,
I've already done the podcast. I did it with you.
See?
I did the podcast with you, didn't I?
Yes. And
Yes.
speaking of that, I am working on volume 3 and volume 4 for this year. So watch out for that.
So you're going to send me
invitation.
an invoice now, aren't you?
No. I won't send you an invoice, but I will send you an invitation for volume 3, which is expected for May of this year, but that's a different story. So again, guys, this is what I mean. Podcasting, open, see, powerful launching pad for much bigger thing. This is what I mean. Real life.
I didn't get
complete
it,
example.
though. I didn't get it. Did I? I didn't get it originally.
Oh, yeah. This is what I mean. This is a real life concrete example. You know, publishing, not only me having books, but also me inviting others to be in my books. Getting me, little me, to speak in front of a TED audience. Me speaking in front of a conference. So again, the potential is absolutely, there's no limit. All right, let's move on. So as I mentioned earlier, many times I'm going to fly through this. You will be able to build an incredible, deep connection with the audience because of all the reasons I've mentioned earlier. Because again, once they get to know you, and for them to know you and you to know them, build that trust and rapport. There's no need to pitch, to sell, to convince, or I like to say in a funny, cheesy way, to seduce or kidnap someone to do business with. Doing with them business with them becomes a natural, automatic, organic progression. Simple as that. Do you guys know this guy? Russell Brunson, co-founder of ClickFunnels, now a multi-billion-dollar company. Here's a powerful quote. Music and radio listeners make on average $60,000 a year, while podcast listeners make on average $120,000 a year. Why do you think that is? Anyone wants to take a crack at it?
Because people attribute a greater value to somebody that they feel connected to or is relevant to over time than somebody who they've never met and have invested no time in getting to know.
Yes, that's true. The main reason is I have nothing with music. I love music. I can't live without music. But the people that, instead of listening to music, they listen to a podcast on their drive or whatever, whenever they're doing something, these people understand the value of self-investment. Not only they understand, but they have the means to invest in programs. Because a person who just goes to work and on the way to drive or commuting just listens to music, sure, they're making money, but they may or may not be fully aware of the value of investing in themselves and may or may not even have the disposable income to do so. But a person that does listen to podcasts, business podcasts, development podcasts, they sure do. And because of that, at the title at the top, your podcast is going to allow you to attract a much higher caliber of clients to your podcast. Because again, only people that not only are interested in your topic, but also people that likes you, relate with you, identify with you, but also people that understand and value the importance of self-investment are going to listen to a podcast, let alone your podcast or my podcast. Does that make sense? So here again, your podcast listeners will be your best clients. Again, for all the reasons I mentioned, because they will feel that they know you, they see you as a friend, even though they may have never meet you in person. But because they've got to know you, your personality, sense of humor, they can identify with you, relate with you. They will have rapport and trust by default, and they will be much more willing and likely to reach out to you. Or if they're part of your ecosystem, when you host an event, they will be much more willing to pull the trigger and open their wallets because of that trust, that rapport. So today's, I can't even say class, but whatever you want to call it, is incredibly powerful because I want you guys to fully understand and comprehend how powerful podcasting is once you do it properly and all the reasons behind it. So that's it for today. Let's have a quick sneak peek into tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about your podcast, and that we're going to start brainstorming about and launching your podcast. So we're going to talk about what is your podcast going to be about, and I'm going to introduce you to a central principle of everything I do, and that is your zone of genius. We're going to work into identifying what is your zone of genius, what is your true gift, because ultimately, the best business, the most impactful, and the most profitable business you can start is the one built around your zone of genius. So all you have to do is just sharing a story, speaking from that of how you overcame whatever you got to go through. Because again, when someone is looking for a coach or mentor and activator, they're not looking for a disconnected millionaire or billionaire. They're looking for someone that is 1, 2, 3, at most 4 steps ahead of them, and someone that they can relate with, resonate with, identify with, and see them as themselves. Someone that recently overcame what they're currently going through, and someone that is authentic, someone that is accessible and reachable. That's what people want. So again, tomorrow is going to be a central point of what we're going to be doing, because everything else from there on is going to stem from this. Identifying your zone of genius, your gift. Then once you identify your zone of genius and gift, we're going to be able to look at what is the number one pain point you can solve and for who, and then build your offer, your messaging, your business, ultimately your podcast around that. Your podcast is going to be mainly the platform of excellence to connect with the audience. So that's what we're going to be doing, ultimately, the bigger picture. But tomorrow is going to be the core central part of it, which is identifying your zone of genius. What is your gift? So any questions about anything we talked about today?
Nope.
Nope.
You guys are amazing.
I know.
I think what I'm struggling with is I've always volunteered my services,
Mhm.
and I'm now ready, but it's believing in myself to sell it on, if you like. I've always found the strength in the fact that because I'm volunteering, you know, or what are they moaning about? Because I'm giving my service for free. But I've been doing this for so long now that I now believe in myself to want to make it
Yes.
more.
Yes.
But yeah, so
You've paid your due, so to speak. Now you're at a place, at a stage that, hey,
yeah.
you can charge proudly and with your head high, not just peanuts,
Mm,
but charge a handsome fee. And one thing I will always tell you guys, and I tell all my students, everybody, don't sell your time. There's always a ceiling how much you can charge. Don't sell your knowledge because knowledge can be obtained pretty much for free. Never make your business transactional. Instead, make it transformational. And that's why it all comes back to the principal core of what I was talking about, your zone of genius. The bigger your zone of genius, the bigger the pain point you're solving someone, the more transformational it is, the more that person is going to be willing and able to pay. When you tell someone, hey, let's say someone is facing divorce and the potential of losing millions of dollars a pound, and you come, hey, my fee is 100,000 pounds. Oh, wow, that's a lot of money. But in comparison to what you're going to help them save,
mm,
it's a drop in a bucket. One of my good friends, she used to be overweight. She used to have type 2 diabetes. Italian woman, and Italian women, they love the pasta, the carbs, and all that. So at 55, she was 350 pounds. She was given 2 years to live. She said, unless a miracle happens, you're not going to be here anymore. So she drastically changed her diet. She got herself off medication. She used to take 19 pills a day. And plus, she couldn't move anywhere. She was, depressed. Finally, she changed her diet. She cut all carbs. She changed her life. She not only she changed her life and saved her life, but also she also saved her husband because husband being Italian, same diet, he was on the same path. So now she's become a very successful diabetes coach, helping other people get off reverse their diabetes and get off medicines. She's charging, what is it? She has a minimum of 6 months. It's $2,000 per month. So $12,000 basically for 6 months. And when people say I don't have the money, they say, well, what's more important, $12,000 or your life? If your business can not only solve a problem, but ultimately save a business, save a family, save a life, there is no limit to how much you can charge. That's why I'm saying make it transformational, not transactional.
mhm.
And this is why to find what can you do that's going to be transformational. That's where identifying the zone of genius is going to come into play, and that's what you're going to be tomorrow. Do you guys see how
Excellent.
everything makes sense? Because it's a very strategic approach to things, which is simply looking inwards, not outwards.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to go spend 4 years in college, master a new field, whatever. No, the greatest source of wisdom is within you when you can reconnect
If
with
you
yourself.
was, Christine would get suspended. She shared that. Just saying.
I didn't hear anything. We didn't hear anything. Yes.
Right, I have to jump all,
Yeah.
but
Yes, me
good to
too.
see you.
Thank you. See you guys tomorrow, same
See you
place, same
tomorrow.
time.
All right. Take care. Bye
Okay,
bye.
take
Take
care. Bye.
care. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
You're
I have
welcome. I hope
been
you
here.
you got something out of
I
today's
have been here
work.